Etepu, Hotep, Ola, Assalamu alaikum, and greetings to all. My name is Namsau. I'm in Sebek, 33rd degree Mason, naturopathic doctor, Grandmaster of African Martial Arts. With me today, I have my colleague and friend, and I will allow her to introduce herself.
Greetings. I am the one and only Sierra L. King. I am an educator and I am a student of the art, and I am becoming a juice therapist, and I also am a naturopathic consultant.
Very good. That was 3 hits. So the gavel will mean something before words are spoken, and it means something different after words are spoken. So for us to hit the gavel before we get into our theme for today means we need your attention. Our program is called Standing on the Square. Today's theme will be about female energy, and hopefully you will get an earful. So, to start this off, I will want Sierra to talk about some of the things she does with her consultation and her juicing.
Some of the things that I do with my consultations is make sure that I am giving them the chance to respond on written documents, and going through some certain questions. For example, are you menopausing, or have you been pregnant before? Do you have any children? And I'm also checking if they have any food foods that they're more likely to go to, and are they exercising, how much water they drink throughout the week, what their what their poop looks like and the urine color looks like. I also try to get into what they do on a daily, their lifestyle, so I just ask them certain questions about that. Those consultations take about an hour, and I I go over a juice plan with them, or some type of daily regimen plan with them. And I also want to know what medications they're taking as well, as it does get complicated when you're putting certain juice formulas together. So you want to make sure you give them the right stuff. And I want to make sure that they are eating proper foods or appropriate foods to their diet and what works for them. So I just take the time to listen more, and then we'll run a plan, and they'll exercise the plan for a good 60 days.
Very good, very good. So we got this female perspective on really how to obtain or maintain good health, which is important to us all. So let's get into this thing a little bit. The reason the world is still in existence today is because of female energy. And it's been like that all through time. Stories have been mistold or lost, and so we have forgotten. It's been so long ago. When you go into the first Trinity, for African people, it's Aset, Aser, Heru. This female took the sperm from a dead male and created a hero. Now I know some sisters like to refer to themselves as Shirus or Shiru. But the word Hiru is the word Heru. Uh, Therefore, this female has the capability, it doesn't matter if it's happened or not, but she has the capability because she was designed to bring forth a man. A man cannot bring forth a woman. She brought forth a man who later became a god. So do we understand why we are here? Many of you probably saw the movie The Woman King. There have been many women kings throughout different African cultures or various African cultures from the beginning of time. So this isn't nothing new. It appears to be new because that has been suppressed for so long and not given its due respect. The interesting thing about becoming a woman king, or those who were female pharaohs, is that they did not have to physically compete to get that position. All they had to do was outthink someone to get that position. Now, with that being said, you tell me where true strength actually lies. Does it exist in this, or does it exist in this?
Mm.
This is brawn. This is smarts. Big difference. And we've been misled and miseducated for so long that we have forgotten where the true strength actually comes from. The complication of a female having the capacity to hold life within her is a very complex thing and a very powerful thing, because it's the greatest gift you give to the world is a child. So without mother, there is no son. Without son, mother still exists. So it's always been about that. Even when you come into somewhat modern times and speak of our slave ancestors, the stories are always told that it was grandma who kept the family together. They didn't say grandpa. It was grandma who kept the household together. It was grandma who made sure everybody ate every night. It was grandma who tucked us to bed at nighttime. It's always been about the female. Let me share a short story with you real quick, and you may be able to find the story on YouTube itself. So it's a contest between males and females. 7 males, 7 females. And the contest is to see which group can get through this hula hoop the fastest. So men, being brawn and strong, thinking that they're going to do a fantastic job on such a simple task. Well, they didn't win that task, because when the women's turn came up to do it, you know what they did? The first woman wiggled through it, and then she held it up for the other 6 to get through it. There we go, struggling again versus being outthought. So, in saying that thought thing, let me go a little bit deeper into how important this thought thing is. Many times, and many of us like to use affirmations, and affirmations are very powerful and real things if used correctly, which means they can serve the good and they can serve the bad. Understanding the energy behind these things and the power of the female, if you got a woman at home saying every night her man ain't shit, guess what he's going to be? Because this is what she has imposed upon him by entertaining such a thought. When the opposite should have been done is that I'm going to inspire him to his own greatness. Remembering that strength is not about who the strongest is physically. It never had anything ever to do with physicality. Men being physical, that was part of our responsibility to do the things that physical strength requires. Women being more spiritually in tune, that means that they were supposed to be doing the same with their energy. And now we start to complement each other versus opposing each other. And that's why I hate the word opposite sex. Opposite things don't match, like things do. And so our thought and the expression of our words are critical. The throat chakra is a main chakra, especially of African people. We are a sound, vibrating people. We move to a particular rhythm. We resonate unique sounds when we go into our singing modes. And so we understand the spoken word better than anyone. Now we have to learn how to speak the correct words because we're putting the vibration out there and now it actually exists. And once you put it out there, you can't call it back. You got to put something out there more powerful. So it goes both ways, as men understand the level of respect that we must start giving the women of this world, the women of this world must remember likewise so that they can keep forth the uplifting energy that men will always need. For example, some of the spiritual rituals that we like to do, such as sweat lodges. Regardless of what culture you go to talk about the sweat lodge, it was a gift given to men by a female. So most of us are familiar with the Native American form of sweat lodges, but they were not the only people in the world that did sweat lodges. African people have done them too, and still do. Men needed a ritual to offer them that level of cleansing that a sweat lodge is supposed to bring. Women participate on a volunteer basis only. And once again, many times we are thankful to have their energy as a part of that because of how powerful it is. Many times, women have been referred to as the emotional group of people. Well, guess what? When you start getting into utilizing affirmations, you better be able to put a lot of emotion behind it if you want it to come into manifestation. And so that is their asset, if that is who they actually are. It's not a detriment. It doesn't take away, it adds to. And so all these things need to be understood and respected from its true point of view versus the definitions that have been given to us. And we keep forgetting this, is that we keep allowing ourselves to be educated by those who oppressed us and not understanding or realizing or remembering that they will never give us the truth, because that empowers a people or a person, the truth does. And it changes the status quo of things. For if you know you're on a path of becoming a god, then you demand that people will treat you a certain way. Anything less than that is unacceptable. And we know that to be true, we just don't practice it. But they know it to be true too, so they don't teach it. So the people that are our teachers can only teach us to be as smart as they are. And we're smarter than that. I'd like to think we are. Most things indicate that we are. Sometimes we just don't act like we are. So as we begin to embrace and understand what the feminine energy brings to the world, which is what keeps us surviving as a species, even those who are not human, because I'm not convinced everybody is. And sometimes those who aren't are telling us they aren't if we pay close attention to the language that they are using. It's in the words, and words carry a certain vibration. For example, most of you, if you've heard the saying that you catch more bees with honey. With the other stuff, you catch more flies. So if we understand and are aware of that saying, then how come we haven't applied it to how we are moving through life? So we all have our good days and our bad days. When we have our good days, we can say, "Oh, God is good." So are you implying that there are days that your God is not good? Because whatever God it is that you believe in, I'm sure that God does not need your affirmations. You need that God's affirmations. So it ain't about your God being good. It's about, are you good? For whichever culture you want to follow, it's about us imitating the gods or the creators that we worship or believe in. So if you believe in them, then are you practicing the things that they are teaching, the lessons that they have laid forth before you? Uh, they don't require any praise from you. I know Reverend Chicken Biscuit may pretend that they do sometimes, uh, but they are taught to teach theology a particular way. And that's so that they can keep the people's minds limited to a certain thought. Because the book, for most Christians, the stories are in there for you to read and understand yourself. You know, your God says God helps those who help themselves. Uh, so it ain't about God being good, it's about, are you willing to do the work? And then we want to do bad things and we expect positive results. I'm thinking, like, what planet are you from where such a thing actually exists? If you are giving off bad energy, how can you expect someone to give you good energy back? That doesn't work. That's not real. So when you start cursing out your neighbor, they're going to start cursing you back because it's the energy that you are attracting. When you are giving out bad energy, you're not attracting good things. You're not attracting someone's love, someone's passion. You know, so think about your actions before you decide to critique someone else's actions. Because women have not been taught the level of power that really exists in them, they have not been able to fully express it as it needs to be expressed. But I am going to say this. Before the world will ever be returned to its rightful place, women must first be returned to their rightful place. And that will be the true balance of energy and putting things back in their proper perspective. We try to diminish her in many things, but in reality, we're paying respect and not realizing it. For example, um, she's always the one eating, right? You eat the chicken, not the rooster. You eat the cow, not the bull. It's always the female eating. So I guess even when you go physically and sexually between a man and a woman, you eat the woman, so to speak. So I guess she's the best dish that can be provided for us when it comes to us being fed. And that means physically and mentally. You know, the worst time to fight a man is when he's in front of his woman. You can beat him every day of the week except for that day. When he's in front of his woman, that's the day you're going to lose. Because that's how inspiring she is. And that's strictly from a physical point of view, you know. But internally, what's going on is a passion, a caring, a realization of what she represents. And it's our responsibility that she exists. And now I'm going to say something extremely profound, but I need you to think about it because this is thought for food. We have been here before because the archaic lessons tell us that when we don't learn lessons as we go through life, we will have to repeat those lessons. And no one learns them all in one lifetime because it's too damn many. African people, your next evolution is to become gods. Wow, the Europeans' next evolution is to become us. And so for us to attain that height, that realization means is that we have to start entertaining our thoughts from a different point of view. Where the benefit exists is what is it that we're actually creating with our thoughts. Because the chairs we're sitting in were created from someone's thought. And now they're real. And everything works like that, whether it's a tangible item or a non-tangible item. That's how it exists. That's who we are. She is the true hero, and we must never lose sight of that. The fact that she can bring forth a man and she can create a hero, that is so powerful, I can't even find the words to express it. That is truly dynamic. And you get so much juice from being in their energy, in their surroundings. As a man, you get pleasure from touching a woman. You don't get pleasure from touching another man. As a man, now you may have different preferences because you're on a different page. But we're talking about as we have understood it to be throughout time, even though other sexualities did exist, but that's a conversation for another day. So bear with me on that one, please. But it is what it is. Not to offend anyone, but to tell a story. Because if you do not have the female organs of a woman, you are not bringing forth Jack. Because that is your God's creation, which makes it special and unique in itself. Especially if you want to read the book correctly, and it says that we were made in their image. Their means plural. We're made in their image. It's like the image of a man and a woman, because that's what exists, men and women. So that had to be our gods, which makes them our creators. And that is what the journey we are all on, or should be on, to fulfill our own destiny, is for us to become the next gods. There's plenty of evidence out there that does actually explain some of these things through science, if you do your research. But if you're on a journey of learning, the esoteric awareness will bring you to certain things, to certain folds of information that you need. You remember the commercial? Used to be a commercial that went, "We serve no wine before it's time." And that's kind of how knowledge works. When you're ready for it, it will come. Because to acquire the wisdom before you are ready for it will create more chaos for you than good, because you don't have the tools for it to operate correctly or to utilize it correctly. So that's where the art of patience comes in at. And that is how we will acquire these things. But we want to be on a path together to acquire these things. So as one of us reach the mountaintop, the other one will reach it as well. Because it ain't going to be no fun at the mountaintop by yourself. So you might as well bring those along that you love most. And that is you doing the greatest good. Because the greatest good is to serve someone other than yourself. And females have been doing that in their entire lives, basically because they are the nurturers. And their nurturing abilities, their nurturing nature, makes them take care of others, because that's who they are. And there's nothing wrong with it. If that's who you are, there can never be nothing wrong with it. That's something that you need to embrace so that you are excellent at what you do, period. But it's who you are. And as men, we have to learn to love them the more for who they are, not what we want them to be. And so far, this world has put them in a case of who we want them to be. And we got to put them back on a pedestal of where they need to be. Because if they're put there and they operate accordingly, then we all will be in a great place. We refer to this place as Mother Earth. We don't refer to it as Father Earth. Why do we refer to it as Mother Earth? Because of the life it gives us. So I say to you, you have those bad days, you have those good days. Then you want to complain. But you know what they call that? Those bad days and good days? Life. So be appreciative that you still have life. And now you have the opportunity to create another good day. Versus complaining about it, then what is created from the complaint? Nothing. Because you get even more depressed or more upset, and your complaints just make everything worse. But you believe you're doing something positive because that's what you feel. And nature ain't interested in your feelings. Nature don't give a damn about your feelings. Nature cares about what is the correct order of things. And we learn to balance with the natural order of things, we all are better off. And in becoming gods, we got to know how to flip that switch sometimes to change the narrative. Make a bad day a good day. Maybe that's your challenge, to make a bad day a good day. To demonstrate the power that you actually have through thought, just through thought. Change the thought, you change the vibration. You change the vibration, you feel different. Come on. That's why when you talk about negative things, you stay negative. And you look for somebody else to be negative with you so that they can talk about the same damn thing you're talking about. How is that enhancing the world? You know, use your abilities and your powers to a greater purpose, to a greater extent. You know, but I guess you have to recognize that you have this power and abilities. And I'm telling you that you do. If you don't know it, study. So, as a great teacher once said, he said, learn yourself. And learning yourself means studying yourself. He said, study yourself until you know you. And then when you know you, study yourself some damn more. Because knowledge of self is always where everything is hidden at. To understand the stars is to understand your body. That's how deep this universal connection is. And our females are designed for this. They're built for this. And we can look at their pretty face and like them and be attracted to them, but we can look at their spirit and fall in love with them. Whole different thing now. But that's taken a little bit deeper, because it's never about hating the individual. It's about hating the behavior. And the behavior is something that we learned that was given to us. So it's about learning the behavior to be changed. And we can make 1,000 excuses of why the behavior has not changed. But you know what those 1,000 excuses lead us to? Denying our own power. Because we just told ourselves we can't change. So now you've placed a limitation upon yourself. And I want to touch on one more category, and that is women's lib. I don't know if black women understood the full magnitude of women's lib. So when European women got involved with it, they made it look like this is a movement to uplift women to higher paying positions, more authoritative positions, and that's all good and fine. I'm 100% behind that. But the understanding that went into it is what was missed. Because as African people, male or female, we all are in a unique struggle. So, pay attention. When white women or European women go to the business and they protest and they want a new position, they want more money. So they get promoted to the position of supervisor. Excuse me. All right, sorry about that. So let's say, for example, they get promoted to the position of supervisor, and now they're in charge of a department or a division. Now, let's put in an African couple, same scenario. Black woman comes in, she wants more pay, she wants to be promoted at her job. She gets the position. So now she's promoted to a higher position. This is the difference, is that black men, African men struggle to get any position, period. And there are some who have made executive positions, but count the numbers and the percentages add up to very little when we look at the majority. So, with African men struggling to get any position, once that female gets her position, she is the economic breadwinner of the household. When that white female gets her position, she is not the breadwinner of the household because the CEO of the company is her husband. The president of the company is her fiance. So he will always be the boss. He will always be the breadwinner. He's the one who created her position. And it's just the opposite. And we didn't have the ability of how to handle that emotionally because we've been living off of definitions that Europeans have provided for us. The man must be the provider. The man must be this. The man must be that. Show me where that is written at anywhere. And you have not studied a culture other than what this European American culture has shown you, so you can't even give me an example from another culture, especially your own, because that's who you are. So you can practice Chinese, you can eat Italian food. When you wake up tomorrow, you're still going to be black. And that ain't going to change. And we're still going to have the same struggles. Because one of the struggles with the black man that sometimes I'm not sure that African women understand is that when a black man or African man steps out the house and goes to work every day, he has to deal with a white man wanting to treat him like he's a black boy. And that's real. And because that's real, that's a fight that he's in all the time. So he's mentally stressed, but how does he come home and share that with his household? Because he's got to be a man, he's got to be strong, he's got to be tough, because that's what the European definitions say. They say, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, where are my damn boots at? You won't let me afford any. And African culture doesn't teach that. They teach that the community is there to make sure that you can get back up. That's how the community survives. And it's about survival. And we are truly in a survival mode now, whether we realize it or not. And it's probably going to get worse as time goes on, because we still haven't understood what we need to do collectively to make this thing better. And it's going to take a collective effort, because African men cannot restore, or men in general, cannot restore women to their rightful place until the women decide that's where they want to be at. And when that's where they want to be at, then they can be helped and restored or do whatever we need to do to contribute to them being there again. But if they don't recognize that's where they need to be, then there's nothing any of us can do to get them there. So this is why we all have to be educated on that. This is where they have to go. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. We have to raise them to their rightful place. That energy is too strong, too powerful, and too beautiful for us not to be able to enjoy it correctly. It's truly God's gift to man. Um, Let me rephrase that. God's gift to human, because all y'all ain't human, and and some of y'all 21 and you still ain't became a man yet either. So it's God's gift to the human, which is the real man. And you've heard people refer to themselves as mankind, but have you questioned what is a mankind? You know, damn it, you either a man or you ain't. You either human or you ain't. There's no kind, you know, other than this AI crap, and then that's not real. Now, you know, because AI allows you to create a fantasy, make believe, to some degree, pure trickery. So people are loving it and playing with it, but it's a dangerous thing. And we got greater issues that we need to be playing with and thinking about and being concerned about. And that's us. Us. The people. The real humans. Needs to be a serious concern. And we got to bring this thing back fourfold. Which means she, the real hero, has to be restored. And when you think about this, if a woman gave birth and she's carrying a hero, the mother belongs to everything the son belongs to. That automatically makes her a hero. You know, your mama is your greatest hero. You like your daddy, but mama's the hero of this thing, you know. So I hope this message touched home with a lot of people. Miss Sierra King represents herself as a woman king, and she's a certified holistic health counselor. So that has allowed her to do some really good recommendations for people to get their bodies in a very healthy state, because we need more healers and people like that in our community. It's a great thing, and we got to promote it, and we got to become aware of it and make sure that we do it seriously. Too often, brothers don't take the real seriously enough. It's a joke. And I know it's a joke because men look for validation from other men. And if you really think about that, how stupid is that? You know, if you're a real man, you want to be validated by a woman. The first man, a womb man. She was the first man. That's why y'all brothers who think y'all are planting a seed, let me tell you something. You ain't planting nothing but an egg with a tail on it. And then she gets to decide if it's going to be an X or Y. That's some powerful mojo. The decision is made inside of her womb whether you are going to be a man or a woman. That's how complex and intellectual her body is. That's powerful juice. And that type of juice has to be respected. Has to be. Just think about that. That she has the ability to decide male or female. And then it gets to live inside of her. So now she's in control of his health. Man, I don't want that responsibility. So thank God the women are the women who they are. Because that's a lot if you intend on doing it right. Now, if you just willy-nilly out there, then I guess it doesn't matter as much. Because, one, you don't know what you're going to give birth to. And, two, you probably don't care who the daddy is. And that's not where we need our women to be. Not at all. Those things are critical. You know, daddy need to be vetted. And then the mother needs to be sure she's on the right path so that she can create another hero. whether it's male or female, is still a hero. It's a hero. And we need more of that in the world. And only through her will that ever be possible. So if it's only through her that could ever be possible, then she should be the most protected and loved thing on the planet. But yet, just the opposite is happening. We have to be involved in getting that correct. We were involved in making it wrong by men wanting it to be a man's world. So now we got involved by correcting and give the world back to where it rightfully belongs, to its true owners. And that may mean a battle. And if it is, so mote it be. Because we have to all be prepared to but be prepared to die for something versus nothing. Because we're not here just to live and die. We all serve a purpose and it needs to be fulfilled. So on that note, we hope for you to tune in with us next time. And we'll have the Woman King, or we'll have another Woman King, because they do exist. They are real. And by the way, Sierra is a fighting champion as well. So we recognize her for that.
Yeah, I do appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. I'm going to let Sierra take us out of here with her powerful words and that great vibration of energy.
Yes. So you heard it. Please ensure that we will be back, and we will be focused on some new topics and go deeper on some more of those topics that we talked about tonight. So please be encouraged and stay in tune, and high vibrational people, positive, uplifting the communities around you. And we'll see you again soon. Peace.
Peace.